Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Alanna Fox Starks. Okay, guys, I have an interesting show for you tonight. After the break, after the announcements, I will be channeling the channelers who have passed. Actually, 3. Sylvia Browne, Edgar, Cayce, and Ruth Montgomery. We're going to have a couple tough questions for Sylvia Browne. She was America's most controversial psychic. She didn't predict everything correctly in her future predictions. But she was a channeler, as was Edgar, Cayce, and Ruth Montgomery. So stick around for that. But first, I have some announcements to make. So a couple days ago, I told you that yesterday there would be a lot of energy coming from the sun, solar flares and whatnot. Well, nothing happened much on the Schumann resonance, and so I wasn't sure if it was tied or not tied, and I thought maybe it would take a day delay. Yesterday was Throwback Thursday, so I thought, well, I'll give it a rest for 24 hours and see what happens. Well, yesterday, there was only 2 peaks at 15 hertz, and today it was flat calm, like back down to 7.83. Literally nothing happened for 24 hours as far as Schumann resonance. But according to NOAA, the National Weather Reporting Service, in concern with the actual sun, space weather. It turns out that we had 6 solar flares. All of them ranged from C1 class coronal mass ejections from the sun, CMEs, solar flares. C1, C2, I think there was a C4 and a C5, and every level goes up by 10 times, kind of like an earthquake. Every time you go up a point, from point 1 to point 2, that's 10 times stronger. So same thing with the coronal mass ejections or solar flares. And so basically protons and electrons are shot out from the sun and they reach Earth, and usually it's not a big deal. Like, we have a magnetosphere that usually protects us. Today, in the past couple days, the magnetosphere has been a little weak. As you guys know, we've been going through a polar shift, magnetic polar shift. The magnetic North Pole has been racing away from Canada, racing towards Siberia, and we've had a polar vortex. We've had all kinds of crazy stuff happening. Well, yesterday was no different, because even though they're saying that we only had C-class flares, it is M-class. So literally it goes A-class, B-class, C-class, M-class, and then X-class flares. Now, in 1859, we had an M-class flare that actually caught telegraph equipment on fire, which caught buildings on fire. I think it was like in New York, or, in the upper eastern part of the U.S. Many buildings caught fire because of a solar flare. An M-class solar flare. Usually it's the M-class flares that tend to disrupt radio signals, ham radio signals, shortwave radio signals. And yesterday, even though they said we only had C-class flares, we actually might have had an M-class flare that they did not mention. And the reason I'm saying it is because they had radio services, including shortwave and ham wave. It's a microwave, only for ham. It's the ham wave. That's not what I meant to say. Ham wave, hilarious. Oh, God. Ham radio waves. So all radio waves, ham radio waves. Why is that so hard to say? And shortwave radios were knocked out. Okay? The radio signals were shorted. They were knocked out by the solar flares throughout all of Africa and most of Europe for a short time. But is that the big one? Oh, no, no, no. The big one hasn't reached us yet. It's happened. It's coming our way. It should hit sometime tomorrow. So, yeah, it's going to be here tomorrow. What's it going to do? I don't know. Put away your mimeograph and telegraph machines. I'm just kidding. No one has those anymore. It could knock out cell service, possibly. It could knock out satellite signals. You know, you might be without internet for a while. Might be a little hard to call people for a couple hours. It'll come back online. Don't worry. We'll be fine. I'm sure of it. We'll be fine. I mean, we've always been fine before. It's happened a few times. But be aware of it. And also be aware of what it's going to be doing to your DNA and your cells and your emotions and the Ascension symptoms. Today, a lot of people are feeling agitated, a little pissed off, a little pissy. Whereas yesterday, people were feeling wonderful and alive and great and marvelous. Today, people were feeling a little short-tempered. This past series of solar flares with all of this other energy, this spiritual energy that came with it, well, it's making us see that there's still some things to work on, I guess. I know for me, my God, my back has been hurting. My back has been hurting. I mean, it's been pretty bad. I'm going to probably take an Epsom salts bath or at least rub CBD oil on my back. My metal rods feel like they're coming out of my leg from where I broke my leg. So a lot of pain. People are having pain. They're reporting tinnitus, sinusitis, problems with the sinuses, some headaches. I'm getting a lot of psychic activity, third eye activity. Crown chakra and third eye have been coming online like crazy. I am attached to my 8th chakra always, so like my kundalini is usually rising and, you know, things are active anyway. But the last few days, telepathy has come online big time. I have had bouts of it with my with various people throughout my life, mostly with my twin flame the past couple months. I don't even know that he's aware that we're telepathing. I mean, I might be just talking to his higher self for all I know. He might not be talking directly to him. He might not be aware of it. I hope he is, but he might not be. So if you think you might be my guy and you're like, well, we haven't been telepathing, so I can't be your guy. Actually you can be, because I don't know. I don't know what you are aware of and what you're not. I had a girlfriend who was very telepathic and we were psychic with each other, but there was times that I would have telepathic conversations with her higher self and she wouldn't remember. And then there's times that we would carry on a whole conversation while being in the same room. We never talked out loud. So, I mean, and then we're both aware of it. And then we talk about later, like, oh, that was a weird conversation. We didn't even talk. My kids and I've always had a psychic telepathic link, since the day they were born, maybe before. My grandparents came and visited me today. God rest their souls. My grandpa came and he's like, hey, I see you're living in Ecuador. I wanted to come say hi. You've ascended higher so I can talk to you easier. And I'm like, wow, so great to see my grandpa. How cool is that? He's my grandpa that I hadn't ever seen since he died. So I was happy to hear from him. And I'm like, so what's going on with my mom? I mean, I haven't heard from her. She died like 4 years ago. He goes, oh, is she dead? And he starts laughing. He goes, of course, I knew she died. I heard the news. I heard the announcement, but I haven't seen her around. I'm like, oh my God, you don't think the worst, do you? And he's like, you mean like she's in hell? And then he started laughing. He's like, of course not. I'm like, I don't know. It's weird. She told me she wanted to stare into the face of God forever. I'm like, Grandpa, have you gone to the room in which people stare into the face of God forever yet to look for her? And he goes, oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Maybe she's in that room. Haha, that's a real room in heaven, by the way. Literally, that's what people do. They walk into the room and they think they're staring at the face of God forever. I'm sure it's a photograph of God's face or holographic projection. I don't know. But I was talking to my grandpa, and then my grandma showed up, and she's like, hey. And apparently they both told me that they've been hanging out with my other set of grandparents that adopted me. So that was kind of cool. My grandparents and my adopted grandparents in heaven, they're all one big happy family. And they said, we're all just a big soul family. So we all had done this together to raise you, your birth grandparents, giving you the genetic code that you needed for what you needed, but then us raising you. And it's just kind of neat. It's kind of neat that they told me that. I asked my grandma, have you heard from mom, since she died? And she goes, oh, she dead? And she started laughing. This must be a joke in heaven. I don't know. Why are they saying this to me? And she's like laughing. I'm like, ugh. And then she's like, oh, I don't know where she is, honestly. I go, well, you don't think she's in hell, do you? And she's like, she started laughing. She's like, no, she's not in hell. Obviously, she's not in hell. But then I just asked my higher guidance, and I was told she was still in the cocooning stage. She's in the healing building. There's like pyramids of light, and people cocoon you with light. They send light and energy and love to you. And she had a really, really like rough last 2 to 3 years here on Earth, and I thought she would be cocooned for 3 years. It has been 5 years. 5 years this month, actually. So, I mean, I don't know. If you guys feel like sending love and light to my mom, Rita Sue, I mean, I don't know. It's like, I want to hear from my mom. I want to have a conversation with her. You know how it is. People die. You have unfinished business. It's so annoying to have to wait 5 whole frickin' years. But sometimes you have to, it's 5 years on Earth. I mean, it probably doesn't feel like as much time. Time is different in different dimensions. It still exists, but it's just very, very, very slow in heaven. And in the upper dimensions, it doesn't feel like it exists at all. But anyway, it's pretty exciting news. I mean, I kept saying we're going to have a solar flare or solar activities, and we did. We had 6 of them. It was pretty cool. This guy he has a website. I forgot the name of it. I just ran across it today. Anyway, he looks at all the different weather reporting, all the scientific cameras, from around the world that watch the sun. And then he takes clips from the videos, and I watched 4 of the solar flares, and 2 of them were pretty massive. He literally showed the picture of it, like coming off of the sun, and it was just, there it is. Oh God, there it is. The sun's just hurling energy at us left and right. And because the upper magnetosphere has been disturbed, possibly by the first or second one, and then that throws it off, it weakens it a little bit, and the magnetosphere has always been a little weaker at the poles anyway. But, compared to the rest of the planet, But what's very interesting about this is in all of the eastern seaboard and, from New York all the way down to Detroit, all the way across to Illinois, like Chicago, and on through Ohio, probably throughout the whole Ohio River Valley, they will be able this weekend, tomorrow, Saturday, they will be able to see, hopefully the conditions are right, they'll be seeing the Northern Lights. So won't that be a treat for them? That'll be something great. It'll be beautiful. My brother Mark, he might be able to see that. That'd be pretty neat. All my homies in the 313 in Detroit, they'll be able to see it. All the people in my neighborhood, my house will be able to see it. But I'm here in Ecuador, so I can't see it from here. My house will have to tell me about it later. Oh, gosh. Well, guys, I am going to take a quick break. And after this message, we're going to come back and I will be channeling the channelers. This is going to be, I'm going to ask some questions. It'll be like a tutorial. Because a couple of you have been asking me about channeling. Heard from a brand new fan today. Had a couple people subscribe to my show. If you haven't subscribed or favorited my podcast, please do it. Go to anchor.fm/metaphysical and favorite the podcast. So you will always be reminded every day that I have a new show. It's a daily show. I try to get it finished every day by midnight California time. And my new subscriber, she told me that she did not know what she was feeling. She's just coming to her spiritual awakening now, just like in the past month or so. And she didn't have any inkling towards spirituality before. And now all of a sudden she's having this massive awakening and all these weird symptoms were happening to her and no one could explain it to her. And that she came across my podcast and she's like, yes, that's been happening to me. I'm so glad you said it because I was feeling like I was going crazy. Now I finally feel like I'm not going crazy. This is real. This is actually happening. And this is true. If you feel like this weird stuff is happening to you and you're going crazy, it's not true. You're not crazy. What is true is the ascension is real. It's happening. Our vibratory rates in our bodies are going faster, 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 faster as the earth itself, the earth mother, the spirit of the planet has risen to the next level, the next dimension, and she's pulling us with her. So we're going to vibrate super, super high also. That means your thoughts will go faster, probably at the speed of light. Your bodies will vibrate so much, the bones inside your body will start to vibrate. It's really, really weird, and it's uncomfortable and strange. You're going to have aches and pains. You're going to have weird symptoms. The best thing I could tell you to do, accept everything, send out love and gratitude. When you're feeling angry, take a deep breath, grab a glass of water, eat a lot of fruit, a lot of vegetables. Try to limit your products, animal products. Having said that, I had some of the best salami of my life today. I never eat like that ever, but I just had to have some. Now I went to the Italian place. Oh my God, I had Sicilian cheese. Oh, with cracked peppercorns. Oh my God, and sourdough bread and cheddar cheese. Again, I got some of that, and sun-dried tomatoes and garlic olives soaked in the highest, finest quality olive oil I've probably ever had in my life. This family went over to Italy and they just, oh my God, I love this place. They went over to Italy and they learned the ways of the cheesemakers of old, of yore. Back when time was called yore, Y-O-R-E, or the days of yesteryear. You know, when you use words like yore and yesteryear, you know the cheese is good. Oh my God. I mean, I literally spent $25 on this stuff. I'm going to have it for the next 2 days for lunch and snacks and whatever. I mean, the sourdough bread is just, you can't get sourdough bread in South America. Like, it's almost impossible. It's not popular. People don't know what the hell you're talking about when you ask for sourdough bread. I mean, they just look at you like you're crazy. Why would you want sour bread? They put sugar in everything in most of the countries I've been to. It's like you go to get a like bread that you're going to put meat and cheese on, and it has sugar in it. And you're like, what? It's really weird. So I don't know. It's not what I'm used to anyway. So going to this Italian place is just, this Ecuadorian family said, let's go move there. They were there like, I don't know, 10 or 15 years. And then they just decided, let's go back. We missed Ecuador. So they came back here, and then they opened this shop. I told them today, I said, this shop is in like where the old convent is, next to the famous blue dome cathedral of Ecuador. And I'm like, no wonder you guys are like basically a part of a church, because your food is literally from heaven. It is heavenly food. I mean, you eat it, you take your first bite, and you're just like, you hear the choir of angels, It's literally an ascension experience in and of itself. So I am grateful to God right now for having been able to buy that food today. That's like our snacks. I call them kipper snacks for the next 3 days. No kipper involved, but But oh my God, the sun-dried tomatoes. Benissimo. It's really, really good. But even though that's what I'm having, I'm trying to have more olives than anything, but olives technically a fruit, right? But yeah, try to have more fruits, more vegetables. I know I am. I looked around for the cherry ladies today, and I'm very upset. I think cherry season may be over. So I got to go back downtown and look again for the cherry ladies. They pluck them from the tree and take them the same day, right from the tree, still fresh from the tree. Oh my God, that's a whole nother level. And all the native women, and they stand on all the street corners in the downtown area, and you just in these huge wheelbarrows with the most amazing fruit, and just fresh, organic. A little expensive. It's like $5 a kilo. It's like kind of a lot, but I mean, they're hand picking them. Their families are hand picking them and delivering them to the city in the same day. So it's really worth it, and it does pay them for their time. But oh my God, I do honestly, I love this city. I was downtown today in those cobblestones, walking on the cobblestones, and it's hard to walk on. It's kind of hard on your body, but it's like kind of romantic, so you don't mind it so much. Then you get home, you're like, oh my God, I can barely walk now. Oh God, but it's fun. And I walked next to the cathedral, and it's like all marble halls, even outside the sidewalk. And it's a covered sidewalk, and it's like pink marble. And the energy is just so high vibration. And after the solar flares and all the energy that came to the planet yesterday, and walking in it was just like, wow. I just felt the energy of it rush through my body. And I was for 5 days vibrating so high that the heat was pouring off me. It was like I'm a heat generator. And I had to walk around in shorts and keep the window open. And it's like cold outside. It's like 57 degrees. And I didn't even feel it. I was so hot, even taking a shower. And finally this morning, I cooled off enough where I felt normal. I felt normal temperature. I went downtown. I felt cold for about 5 minutes. And then the new wave of energy hit me again. So again tonight, I don't know if you guys are feeling it, or if you're sensitive to energy like I am, but I'm feeling the energy again. Now I'm just like, it's this expansion energy. Now, unfortunately, it's expanding my tummy right now. It's so embarrassing. It's like, no, guys, I'm not really pregnant. It's just the energy I'm holding in my body. And that's another thing. Gas. Burping a lot. I've had people tell me that they're burping a lot. That's some of their symptoms. Some people are having the air come out the other way, but it's more often than not it's just belching a lot out of nowhere. It's not as a result of any particular food, although you could try to change your diet, see if that happens. Trying to think if there's anything. It's not like heartburn type of burping. It's just normal, just air. And if you are holding light in your body, you might have a water weight, extra water weight. And I've been having that. Trying to think if I heard of any other symptoms. I mean, I listened to like 20 videos today about this stuff to see what other people are feeling and experiencing. Plus, now I have my own people. I have you guys, and you guys are writing in and telling me what's going on. So I appreciate that, because then I can report back to everybody else. So we all kind of validate each other, and we know that we're not going crazy for real. It's like kind of important to know that we're all not nuts, right? I mean, if you have a symptom that you are like really worried about, just, you know, to ease your mind, you could go see a doctor, or a naturopath, or, you know, somebody that would help. But for overall, it seems to me it's just Ascension symptoms, most of it. Some people are feeling like they have a fever. I've been feeling that for 5 days, and then it went away finally. It's just energy. I'm not sick. I keep asking my body, are you sick? I keep doing muscle testing. Go back to my kinesthesiology episode on muscle testing for everyday life. That episode will really help you. If you don't know what muscle testing is, it will help you in a wide variety of ways. It's how if I'm talking to spirits and I don't hear them clearly, or I think I hear them say something, but I doubt myself, I use muscle testing to confirm what I heard, or to see if I'm just filling in the blanks with my own mind. It helps me with discernment, helps me with my body, helps me with everything. You know, but I've been telepathing with my kid that lives with me, my youngest boy. He felt me today when I wasn't feeling good, and he wrote me immediately. He's like, Mom, I feel like there's something wrong. I'm like, yeah, I just started to have a little bit of an asthma attack, you know, so I had to stop. I was walking downtown. He's like, yeah, I felt it. See, the telepathy was actually, it's becoming very helpful. And those that you love and are near and dear to you, it's going to start coming online. Might make you guys a little bit agitated or mad in the beginning, especially if you're thinking things that you don't want anyone else to know and they pick up on it. It can end up causing a rift for a minute or two. But after a day or two, you're going to get used to it, and you're going to start loving it and appreciating it. I mean, especially if the solar flares are knocking out our phones, it will be the only way we have, besides muscle testing and asking our higher spirit, you know, telepathy is going to help us. So it's one of those fun little tools, you know, and everyone has the ability, so don't doubt it. If it hasn't come online yet, it will. It's coming. Don't worry. You're going to get it. You can hone it, you know, clear out your chakras, you know, just focus on it. Focus on it. I'm going to try to do a show on chakras soon. I follow higher guidance. So today it was God's idea to do the show on channeling the channelers. So without further ado, after this message, we're going to come back and do that. Hey you, have you ever thought about having your own podcast like me? Was it even a New Year's resolution? For me, it sure was. But as I've been looking into this for months, I was daunted. There's so many questions I had. When I was trying to get this off the ground, I was wondering, how do I record the episode? How do I get it across all the platforms? How do I get my podcast on Apple Podcasts when I don't even have an iPhone? How do I get it onto Spotify and all the other places? How do I get people to listen? And how do I make money from my podcast? How do I edit it? Oh my God, I had all these questions, and I was so confused until I discovered the simple answer is Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free, and it is ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you can get paid to podcast. All you need to do is record it. You don't have to go out and look for people to advertise on your show. They help you. So basically what I like about podcasting is I don't have to have a video of myself. You don't know if my hair is dirty or if I'm still in my pajamas or even if I'm wearing makeup. Haha. And it's so easy. I could do this from the comfort of my own home in my living room using this amazing app right from my cell phone. So easy, right? So if you've always wanted to start your own podcast and make money, by the way, doing it, please go to anchor.fm/start. That is anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters that are already using Anchor. Again, that's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast, and I can't wait to favorite you. Woohoo! Let's be broadcast podcast buddies. I'll see you there. Okay, guys, I am already connected to Ruth Montgomery. And when I connected with her, she said, I want to be in tune with you and have perfect telepathy. So let's connect by holding hands and imagining our third eyes are in conjunction with each other. And then she had me do breathing exercises with her, and we took 3 deep breaths together. And then we sat in silence for a few minutes. And it seems to have worked. So I am connected with Ruth Montgomery. Hot. I am feeling so hot, so much energy coming through my body right now. It's ridiculous. Ruth Montgomery was born on the same day as my baby brother Mark, who I just mentioned. She was born on June 11th, 1912, and she died on June 10th, 2001. She didn't quite make it to her birthday. She's laughing. She's like, oh, that's okay. Who needs another birthday? She's like laughing. I kind of agree. I mean, my mom died on her birthday. My dad died on his birthday. My stepmom died like a couple days before her birthday. People die around their birthday. She says, yeah, that does seem to be the case, isn't it? She says maybe the portal is a little bit stronger because that's your birthday of birth, so there's more energy surrounding you. Oh, yeah, I was just talking yesterday about energy that you need to die. It does tie in. She says, yeah, that does tie in, doesn't it? Yeah. She's like, oh, it's interesting. It's nothing. I didn't really look into that before. Well, I just noticed in my parents, it was like weird. It's like giving me a complex about my own birthday. You know, I don't ever want to grow a year older, but I do like having my birthday. I mean, cake, hello. But at the same time, it's like I get a little like leery about, ooh, I hope I live through my birthday now, because that's just weird. She's like, yeah, that was a little odd, right? Okay, so Ruth Montgomery became very popular with her books that she wrote in the 1960s and 70s. She started the Association of Past Life Research and Therapy. She did a lot of books, channeled books. She channeled from her spiritual guides. She popularized the notion of a walk-in entity that will come in to someone's body and take over their body rather than being born and raising up from a baby. If someone is depressed, a walk-in sometimes will come in and take over their body, and then their spirit can just leave and go to heaven. I've heard that it's an absolutely real thing, and I've heard that it's absolute crap. In fact, later we're going to talk to Sylvia Browne. I think that in one of her books she said that's not true at all. But she's on the other side now. Maybe she's changed her mind. We're going to ask her later about that. Okay, so Ruth Montgomery also did a series of predictions, one of which did not come true until this year. She predicted that we would be having a polar shift, and I think when I read the book back in 1987, I think I read that she said it was going to be either a magnetic shift or physical shift or both, but she wasn't quite certain. She saw it happening in 1999, but it happened 20 years later here in 2019. So I did mention it a couple weeks ago on my show, as a matter of fact, that is indeed happening. They had to paint all the runways because everyone's equipment's going crazy, and planes, they're having problems with planes, and there's 2 or 3 different magnetic north poles that are showing up on compasses. It's just been wreaking havoc with people's GPS systems that are based on magnets. So what do you do when the magnets fail? So, okay, Ruth Montgomery, hello and welcome to the show. As you guys know, I just told you has passed away, and I'm channeling her information from the ethereal realms in which she is currently residing, and she is not going to inhabit my body because I do not channel like that. I channel the information after I talk to the person about it. So I'm using kind of channeling also with like telepathy, if that makes sense. So, okay, Ruth. Hi. That's what she says, hi. So, first of all, why was your prediction of a polar shift off? She says, well, there could be many factors in a prediction that doesn't come true on time or comes true in a different time. It could be that I made the prediction on one timeline and my book bled over into this timeline and it was just on a different timeline. But also it's the consciousness of humanity that makes these shifts happen. There's many, many times in which we're on a path or a specific like trajectory towards one thing, but then it just blossoms into a whole nother thing. That's why the world is so wonderful, because everything is, everyone is learning and growing, and we just keep blossoming these new realities all the time. So it's, are you saying a bit like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride? Yeah, okay, all right. I want to make sure that's what you said. So it's a bit like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, it's impossible to predict and pinpoint it down to a specific year. I mean, that's why it's so hard to be a psychic medium, because even if you're right, you might not be right on this timeline. You might be picking up information from a different part of the cosmos or a different dimension. You might be getting interference by another spirit. There might be malevolent spirits messing with you. You also have the problem of predictability not being an exact science. Yeah, exactly. Right. Okay. All right. That's a really good, long, and detailed answer. And I love how we do have a very clear connection. I'm able to channel you quick in real time. This is really good. Sometimes it's hard for me to channel spirit, and I've got to wait, and there's a lot more pauses. So I wanted to thank you for doing that breathing technique. I'm going to do that with all the other spirits that I channel from now on. God told me to do this channeling the channelers who channeled before they died. Like, literally, it's a pretty interesting idea. I never would have thought of this. I probably would have done something on animal spirits or ETs tonight if it wasn't for God's brilliance. She's like, well, he is the one that created the world. Yeah, exactly right. He's a lot smarter than me. All right, so Ruth, you channeled for your books. Indeed, I did. I had a clear psychic connection with my spirit guides, and I channeled the information almost as fast as I could type. It flowed through my fingers like water. And it was just so pure and so clear. And I'm really grateful because, I was able to support myself, the books. Yeah, okay. She said I was able to support myself with my books. I became popular. I felt I was in the right place at the right time with the right energy. I had meditated enough in my life, and it was a matter of energy meeting opportunity. Okay, yeah. All right, I'm asking with my finger testing. So it was a matter of energy meeting opportunity. I was able to do this. And I'm so grateful I got to do this. And when I set off in the beginning, I had psychic ideas, but as my psychic ability grew, my natural channel also grew. My ability to channel spirits grew. At first it was psychic, but it was like stagnant, like pictures came to my mind, and then eventually slow moving video, and eventually fast moving video, and then eventually information in real time. And psychic ability, it's a progression when you allow it to be. And from the very beginning, and you just get a quick flash or an intuitive knowledge, like an intuition and an inner knowing that something is real. And that seems to be how it starts in a lot of people, even though everyone's an individual. It seems to be how it happens. And for me, over the years, it grew to the point in which I was channeling almost like I was a television set and I was tuned to the frequency. My antenna was pointed in the right direction, and I was able to tune into the channel that I needed for the spirit to come through. And I always use the highest guidance, my spirit guides, people that I knew, loved, and trusted when I lived on the other side before. Although I didn't know it at the time, I just trusted. I just trusted everything. I surrounded myself with white light, and I asked God to protect me and send legions of angels around me. But at the same time, I just knew that this was the right thing for me, for my heart, for my spirit. It's what I needed. And indeed, it brought a lot of hope to the world, hope to humanity. It was controversial, yes, but at the same time, I brought comfort to those who really needed it. And I gave you guys, even though I was off by 20-something years, it gave you guys a trajectory, something to look forward to, something to look for in your future. And that's all I ever wanted to do, was to warn humanity with the things you needed to look ahead for and also prepare for. Meditation is important. Focusing on your spirituality is important. Connecting with God is important. This is how you grow in your supernatural and psychic abilities. Your ability to telepath with each other, for example. And just communication with all the spirits of the spirit world. You can even communicate with your pets that have passed away. You could channel their energy too. Very good, Ruth. Thank you. So also, Ruth, I wanted to ask about, you were saying something about protection, white light. So I want this episode to be helpful for people who are interested in channeling. They've never done it before. A lot of people are coming online now. They're awakening to thoughts, psychic thoughts, abilities, and all that. And they're not able to put it all together just yet. But they want to be their own channels and be their own fountain of information. They want to be their own fount of knowledge, because as this progresses and we go into the Ascension, coming into our own sovereign power, in our own personal kingdoms seems to be a lot more valid than ever was before. You know, we are all becoming a world of individual kingdoms. And so I need to know from you, what can I tell people about how do you start to channel? What do you do? What advice or help you can give us? How do we use discernment? How do we protect ourselves? Yada, yada, yada. Okay. Okay. She says, okay, I got it. First of all, you're going to want to get a notebook or a journal and a favorite pen that you set aside only for this task. Don't write your grocery list or anything on this paper. Just keep it specifically for this. When you get a psychic prediction or a psychic intuitive flash of knowing and intuition, do not panic. Do not rewrite it. Do not forget it. Write it down immediately. Even if it seems utter nonsense and BS. It could be, or it could be real information. Just write it down. Just keep writing it down. And you will learn to trust yourself when you learn to stop judging yourself. Get the information and write it down, because it can become clear later. It might not become clear until much, much later. Maybe it'll never come clear, but if you keep judging it and you're precursorily, I can't get that word, precursorially demeaning or demoting the meaning of your psychic vision, it's going to just, it will eke out any potential ability that you already have. You know, if you keep doubting yourself, if you're a doubting Thomas to yourself, it's going to be detrimental in the long run to your psychic abilities and your overall abilities as a whole that are coming online. You cannot doubt them anymore. Okay. They're real. They're here. Do not doubt them and have faith, and ask God to help give you faith. But also at the same time, always pray for clarity. Always ask for clarity. Okay. She's taking a deep breath and she's tuning again to me. You're saying ice? Okay. Yeah, all right. She's showing me before you start any endeavor, take an ice cube and put it at the base of your head, at the top of your spine, the base, your upper neck, lower part of your skull. And take 3 deep breaths. It will calm any doubting that you have. Okay, now, actually, Ruth, Paramahansa Yogananda said that if you get angry, you are to do the same thing. You take the ice cube and you put it at the base of your skull, and it will stop any poison that you are releasing into your body unwittingly by being angry. Because when you're angry, you have an outburst of anger, or you have a fight with somebody, it will push toxins into your body for 24 hours, and you want to stop that immediately. So when you get angry, you just put that ice cube at the base of your skull. Oh yes, of course, it works. Absolutely. It is an old trick in the magicians of old, in the yogis, in all the old traditions, putting something cold or cool there, even before ice existed in the world, except, among the penguins and the Eskimos. Just putting something nice and cool, like cool, clear water from a creek. Just running a cloth through a creek and putting that on the base of your spine. That was a very old wives' tale, like old wives' trick. Nursemaids, handmaidens, everybody knew how to do this. It's always been known, but it's these kinds of things, the knowledge of which has been lost. Oh, in recent decades, for sure. But yeah, this is something, it also helps with anger. But before you get into your psychic ability, this will stimulate your psychic connection, as well as it will take a lot of your doubt away. It will just calm it right down, and it will help you to focus, because when the skin on the back of your neck starts to heat up, allow it to be a visualization of a channel, a psychic channel opening up like a tunnel or a tube. And allow the energy to flow through you, and the information to flow through you. You want to be careful, but if you want to start with automatic writing, some people start their channeling experience with automatic writing. Automatic typing as well, but get an old typewriter. You can use a computer, I suppose, or a laptop, but an old-fashioned typewriter is kind of fun. I agree. I used to do that, Ruth. That's how I started, actually. So yes, take a pen and a paper, close your eyes, and just tune into who you want to channel. Don't allow random spirits to come to you. Surround yourself with white light. Ask Archangel Michael to be with you. Ask your holy guardian angel to be with you. Ask God to surround you with white light, and then you yourself must do your part to surround yourself by white light as well. Some people talk about putting a ring of salt in a circle around you. You could do that if that's going to make you feel better. It's not completely necessary, but if that makes you feel good, do it. The point is, you want to feel good from this experience. You should always feel relaxed, comfortable, and happy when you sit down to channel. Don't try to do this in a rushed way. Don't do it when you only have 20 minutes to do something. Do not do it with a radio or TV in the room, or a cell phone. We'll make an exception here for your computers and laptops, because I know how you guys are today with your electronics. And if you're going to type and try to automatically type from a spirit, it's okay to do it, but I need you to know it's most likely it's better if you just do a typewriter, or just a pen and paper, pen and a notebook. Get the impressions that come through. You can ask questions. Connect with your spirit guide, and then ask a question and see what answer comes. Just write down what answer comes. You might ask a normal question and the answer might be 33. Later you're going to look that up on your angel numbers and see what it means. And it might have a specific meaning to you. You can open up your channel by using tarot cards or even playing cards. Just write down, what comes out. Shuffle the deck in your hands. Some of the cards will pop out automatically. Write them down. Look them up. See what they mean later. That might be how you start. Everyone's different. Everyone's unique. As long as you start. And at the end of a channeling session, take 3 deep breaths. Thank the spirit. Disconnect from them if they're not a part of your spiritual team. And don't do something stupid like try to connect with the devil. Try to do something stupid like connect with an evil entity, and don't talk to the dead if you don't know them, or if you don't know if they're of the light or not. Like right now, Elena is talking to me, but the one Will told her to talk to me. And also, by the way, guys, I did get her, God told me to channel her, but I did not just do it automatically. I asked her permission. I connected with her, asked her permission. I do that with all my spirits. And then if they say no, the answer is no. And then I go on to somebody else. But, yeah, that's true. I would never just automatically channel. I could connect with people and ask them a couple questions, and they could always say, I'm not interested, or I don't want to talk to you, or I'm busy right now, and then you just have to respect it and go on. She says yes, but you're actually, honestly, your best bet, especially when you're beginning, is to ask your higher self. So remember, guys, I told you, this is Elena speaking now, I told you say, I'd like to be connected to my higher self. I'd like to be connected to my spiritual guide. I'd like to be connected to my holy guardian angel. I'd like to be connected to God. And for protection, I'd like to be connected to Archangel Michael. And she's saying, yes, that's very good, Elaine. That's exactly how you do it. You build up your spiritual team. You build up the spiritual energy. You put the ice in the back of your head just for a couple of minutes. Don't go crazy with it. It's not an injury. You don't need 20 minutes, she says. Just 1 or 2 minutes. And then put the ice cube back in the fridge or throw it in your sink and dry off your hands and go and write. And something magical is definitely going to happen. Try it every day for 10 minutes at the same time every day. That will set up a pattern. That will set up a pattern in your environment. It'll set up a pattern in the space-time continuum. And it will establish that you're serious about it. She says sometimes it might be 2 to 3 months before anything comes. Just know that it's coming. Telepathy is coming online. We see from these realms that the ascension is real, it's happening, and you guys are closer than ever to us, and you're going to be able to telepath with us more and more clear. Start to channel your higher self first. Later on, you can move to your grandma or your mother or anyone in your family who are close to you that you love very much and you wish to talk to. But know that spirits are just spirits. We're just people that transitioned into another realm. We're not be all, end all, see all, know all. We don't know it all. And sometimes we get it wrong. And so you can't just ask, your great Aunt Sally what earth changes are coming and when, because she may not even know. She might be yanking your chain. She might want to just tell you something now to get you off her back, asking these crazy questions, because she might not know. So take all the information that you get with a grain of salt. Don't go out spouting off to the world like Chicken Little and the sky is falling. Be concerned about discernment. Always have your wits about you and your discernment. You can light candles. You can have ritualistic things like candles and incense. You could do this in a semi-darkened room. You can even have a special light bulb that you use that will make it that special time, whatever it takes to get you in the mood. Maybe you have a robe you want to wear, or a special t-shirt or shirt, or your fuzzy slippers that you only want to wear while you're channeling. You might have something like even a rock or a crystal next to you, anything that will put you in that mindset and that mood. And if you do use a crystal or a rock, she says, the best thing to do is to only use it for that purpose. Make sure you keep it clean and put it soak it for 10 minutes per week in salt water and throw the water out. Don't water your plants with it. Salt's really bad for plants, but also the energy. It will take all the negative and bad energy that your crystals may or may not absorb from the environment. She said, so basically if you take this with you everywhere you go after you establish a clear connection, then you're going to be able to have telepathy on the go. Kind of like a cell phone, but it's a telephone, like a telepathic phone, she's saying. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool idea. Oh, she says, thank you. She's like, I feel like we're running out of time, so I thank you for having me on the show. Oh, you're welcome, Ruth. Thank you for being here. And she says, I'm willing to come back for other shows for other topics. Thank you so much. I'm so glad. Okay, I'm going to come right back, you guys, and we're going to talk to another channeler. Okay, guys, I'm here with Edgar Cayce. He was born on March 18th, 1877 to January 3rd, 1945. He was a very famous psychic, clairvoyant. He made claims that he could read the Akashic records of the universe. But he only did this from a state of deep, deep trance, which he called sleep, even though it wasn't typical nighttime sleep. It was a trance state. And he earned the name the Sleeping Prophet. He could predict the future. He could look back and talk about Atlantis, which he did at length. He also talked a lot about reincarnation. And after he passed away, the people that worked with him started the Association of Research and Enlightenment, which is still going strong today. It's called the ARE, or Association of Research and Enlightenment. So you can read any number of his books. He's got thousands of volumes of things he predicted for people, read about people. He was also able to read physical and medical conditions in the body, he's telling me, and he's showing me that he could scan someone's body while he's in that deep, deep trance state, and he could tell people exactly what was wrong, exactly what was happening, what was about to happen, and also all manner of combination of herbs, flowers, teas, sometimes food that needed to be combined for that specific person, and how their body would react chemically to the thing. That's what he's telling me. So he was very, very interesting. In fact, you could go and you could just do research for the next 5 years on his stuff. I mean, it's so extensive. Every day for 5 years, you won't even cover it all. So he wrote a lot. There was a lot written about him. Okay, and were you a doctor? Dr. Cayce? So yeah, I keep thinking you were a doctor of some sort. Yeah. And you're from Kentucky, by the way. He said, indeed I am. I'm from Kentucky. Very nice. And I get the feeling of a fine, refined Southern gentleman is the energy that comes through. When I talk to him, he's very pleasant, very sweet, very gentle man. And it's wonderful being in his presence, just to be quite frank with you. He's like, thank you very much, ma'am. Most obliged. Oh, I like that. I like that Southern accent. It's starting to come through a tiny bit. He says on the other side, we don't really have, that much of accents, in the way of accents, but sometimes if we come through, we will have an accent just so that you get the gist of our personality while we were still alive. That's very interesting. Cool. All right. So, okay, Dr. Cayce, can you tell me what would be your best advice to give somebody who wanted to channel and, I guess information from their higher self or from their spirit guides probably would be the most helpful thing right now. He says, well, it depends on what you want to channel. If you want to channel information from like the divine, directly from God, or the universal intelligent life force energy, it has a different frequency than the Akashic records. The Akashic records going way back have a lower vibration than the ones that are newer. Not saying that they're low vibration, because indeed they are not. It's just that because it has to do with time and it's in conjunction with time, it actually goes around the increments of that spiral of time, right? Okay, yeah, that's what he's showing me. So, it's 10 years ago, it'd be a specific vibration, but if it's 100 years ago, it would be a lower vibration, 10 times lower. And there's nothing wrong with low vibration. Indeed, the Earth has been beaming out 7.83 hertz, according to Schumann resonance, right? He says exactly. So it's kind of, 7 to 8 hertz. It seems very, very low, like an ultra low frequency, extremely low frequency, or an ELF. But at the same time, there's a place for every vibration in the universe, and nothing is out of place. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is evil. So don't worry about when it comes to the Akashic records. He adds quickly, not really don't get involved with low vibrational entities, but when it comes to the information, it just runs at a little bit of a slower rate of energy, like of existence or vibrating existence. He's showing me like kind of just like a vibrating atom. So, or like an electron. He's just showing me that it's just a little bit of a different vibe. He says, always surround yourself with circles, 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 never angles. Don't ever put angles around you when you are trying to channel, especially when you're new. Circles are always important. If you want to put a circle of protection, you can imagine a circle of white light around you. Ask angels to stand around you in a circle. Or your ancestors or your spirit guides or whatever, even if it's your animal totem, if you have animals helping you, have them stand around you in a circle. Never at an angle, not in a triangle or a pyramid shape, always in a circle. Imagine the circles. The circles are the key to it. Circles are the key to existence and to life. Through circles come the water of life, the bread of life, the staff of life. And through angles is where you get the evil, vibratory, negative energy entities. That's what he's telling me. That's really important to know. Okay, so who did you channel when you were channeling information for people? I tended to channel the spirit or the higher self of the person, but I also consulted the Akashic records of the person's soul. Many times, maladies, disillusionments, disorders, and infirmaries came from a past life concoction of the mind or of the spirit, and sometimes just from the bad experiences that people had, and then if they had a super strong emotion attached to it, it would shoot into the future. So when they reincarnate again, it would attach to their energy signature, and everyone has a signature, an energy signature that is unique. So this is what I looked for. I would not only attach to the person in the body, but attach to their soul and their oversoul, like the big picture oversoul. And I would tap into the Akashic records. So I had to go deep, deep, deep into trance. And I always had people around me, and they would always monitor my body and take care of me. And I would say what I would say, but I was not aware of it. A lot of times I would come out of it as if I just rested. It was great to make a living while laying down and sleeping. He said, you very well could have called me the lazy prophet, because that's what I did. I just slept. I just appeared to be sleeping. People attribute all this energy of like all these books I wrote, but it was genuinely my pleasure to do this for humanity and for the world. But it was really nothing at all. It came to me as second nature. For me, it was natural. And I had the ability since I was a very little child. Indeed, I think I was about 5 or 6 years old when I was first aware of the energy and the ability to do this. So for me, it's a little hard for me to tell you how to start channeling. And certainly I'm going to tell you right now, don't start channeling for commercial reasons or commercial purposes, because you don't know what kind of entity you will bring in. You are most certainly going to attract a low vibration energy, and I mean low vibration in the worst way now. So come now, I want you to be aware. Don't do this for money. That's really, really good advice. Dr. Cayce, I'm grateful that you just mentioned that, because you guys are giving me information I never would have thought about. Okay, he says, I see that, okay, so Ruth had mentioned having a crystal and putting an ice cube, which in and of itself is a form of crystallized water, is it not? Put that on the base of your, the top of your neck or the base of your skull. And I do agree with that. But also, I would like to suggest another thing that might work for some. Tea, like mint tea, a nice herbal tea or a mint tea. Specifically, spearmint tea. It seems to cleanse the auric vibratory, the vibrations and emanations in your aura that need to be cleansed. You can actually pour this on a washcloth and start from your head all the way down and give yourself a little bit of a sponge bath with this. Put it on a sponge or a natural sponge or maybe a washcloth, a clean household washcloth that one would use for bathing. And indeed, if you want, you can even take a shower, and at the end of the shower, pour ice cold or room temperature cool mint tea, spearmint tea. Peppermint might work, but it's a little more harsh for the skin. But spearmint will be a gentle cleanse. If you don't have that, barring that, chamomile will work. That will also help. It will help put you in that mindset. If you're getting ready to do a big channel, that would be something that I highly recommend. It will cleanse your aura, and it will tune your vibrations. It will lower any vibratory anxiety that you might have. So anxiety tends to be a frenetic and chaotic high vibration, but it's a I'm almost getting the word schizophrenic. Did you mean to say schizophrenic? Yeah, he said, yeah, I did. It's kind of a schizophrenic energy. It's kind of a blah. He's showing me this energy, blah, like he's like saying like static electricity or mini. It's almost like the energy, the way he sees anxiety. It's like an energy of almost like miniature lightnings he's showing me. It's like static electricity or miniature lightnings. It's like sort of, and it's an angular. If you imagine static electricity, it doesn't come in circles, it comes in angles. And chamomile and spearmint will smooth that out. It will take care of anxiety as well. Well, how cool is that? So you don't mean just only on emotional. No, sometimes anxiety can come as an energy to you that does not emanate from your emotional body. It can emanate and radiate towards you from 100 people feeling it around you. So if you're in a bus station, for example, okay, he's saying even if you're in church, I mean, it doesn't have to be only a bus station where people are frazzled coming to and from work. It could also be even in church, just when you're in a crowd of people. People can have this energy, and it's catchy like static cling. That's a really good analogy. And people will pull it into their bodies, and then they pull it into your minds and their emotional body. Then they think it comes from them, and nowadays they take pills for it. I'm telling you, don't do that. drink chamomile tea internally. Use it externally. Just put it on a washcloth and wipe your face down with it. Wipe your limbs down with it. Wipe your heart chakra area with it, and your throat chakra, and of course the base of your skull. As Ruth mentioned, that is a very sacred part of your body. You must take care of it. And also the sacroiliac part at the base of your spine. So at both ends of your spine, you got to take care of your spine energetically. And also this affects the Kundalini energy as well. It can in turn affect the chakras, your aura, your etheric body, all of your body, mental body, and everything. Chamomile tea, it's a godsend. And spearmint tea, it's a godsend. And like I said, other mint tea also, but that's to a lesser extent. And if you have lemon balm, Melissa, lemon mint, chrysanthemum, even clover sometimes can help. I'm asking him anything else. So no, that's a good start. Lavender essential oil in a pinch. That seems to be very popular these days in your world. He's like showing me like your section of the world in your years. Yeah, it is. He says even just lavender, having a sprig of lavender, if it's fresh, cut it and hang it above your bed for sweeter dreams, and it will emanate the beauty and radiance until it's dried, and then throw it away because then it's bad energy. But you can even keep it on your nightstand, freshly cut lavender, just like you would roses or something. That would actually emanate. If you have it on either side of your bed, all the better. Oh, this is so good. And you can also cleanse your aura with it if you just take a sprig of mint or lavender or both, and you can just cleanse your aura with it and just scrape your aura clean. That, at least in my opinion, would be a good way to start to channel, because you want to start with a clean slate. If you're going to write if you're a child in school and you're going to write your homework on the blackboard, you don't want to write it on top of everyone else's writing. And when you're in a crowd of people or you're around other people in public, all their energy gets so frenetic and kinetic, and it's almost like they're writing on the blackboard of, I don't want to say your soul, but they're going to be writing on the blackboard of maybe your mental body or your emotional body. So you need to cleanse it. Just like if you're going to become a connoisseur of wine, you wish to cleanse your palate first. So you've got to cleanse the palate that is your ethereal bodies. And what of protection, you might ask? Your holy guardian angel will provide all of the technical support you need. Your holy guardian angel will provide all of the protection you need. You can incorporate the use of Archangel Michael. Definitely ask Mother Mary, ask Jesus, ask whoever makes you feel happy, warm, and comfortable and open to come and protect you. And indeed, they might even want to be the ones that you channel someday. Start slow. Start with good intentions. Never do this for the intention of gaining money or harboring secret information for money. Don't ever try to hurt people through these channelings. It is a spiritual practice and it should be kept pure. Have a pure mind. Have a pure heart. Don't ever try to channel while you're drunk, while you're angry, while you're on drugs. If you're altered in any way, shape, or form, or even if you're just tired, don't channel in these times. Keep it as a sacred, holy practice. It's not to become a circus freak. Channeling is not to become a center of attention in a crowd of people. Definitely not for money. This is not something that you should do unless your higher self directs you to do it. If your higher self, or you work for God, for example, yeah, he says, okay, that was my question. So yeah, if your higher self says to do this for in front of a crowd or for money, then that's okay, but don't set out with the intention of doing this for a baser purpose. If it's meant to be, it's going to happen automatically. Don't worry. Cool. I'm glad you said that, honestly, Edgar, because I did not ever start my show, Metaphysical Soul Speak, in order to do channeling, and now God is having me channel, and God is asking me to channel like the spirit of the moon, and channeling the channelers, and it's interesting and it's fun and I enjoy the work, and I've been doing this for people, over the years on and off, but never for money, and now I'm doing this for my show, and it's strange. He says, but it's wonderful, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It really is, honestly. He's like, you're enjoying yourself and your spirit asked you to do it, so it's okay. Thank you, Edgar. Thank you. So what other advice can you give? Just relax into it, breathe, and allow the information to come. And don't judge it when it does, just allow it to flow. Because what might not make sense today will make sense in the future, right? Yeah, okay, that's pretty much what he's saying. Sometimes it's helpful to see the color blue. If blue is something that you want to tune into, just see the color blue, and anything that comes up on the field or plane or level or color of blue, that's what you write down. That's what you say if you have somebody writing it down for you. That's also fun to have, by the way. Someone who's willing to write down the messages you get. That's helpful. But then if it came on a plane or a field of existence that's, say, purple or pink, and that's not the tune you want to sing, that's not the color you wish to tune into, then that might help you to use better discernment. If, for example, you see something on a plane of existence that's black or red or a dark gray, especially like a marbly, old, mossy, moldy color green, then you know it comes from a lower entity vibration that you don't want anything to do with. And you just take a deep breath and blow it away. Just focus on the blue plane. That might be something that would be easier for the beginner to do. He says, I hope this helped. This information helped. I am feeling the need that it is time to stop for now, and you can go talk to Sylvia. I am willing to be at your disposal in the future, young lady, he says, for future shows. It's been a pleasure being a part of this. I'm happy I get to still affect the world in a positive way. I'm glad. Thank you for coming. I'm grateful to have you here, Mr. Cayce, Dr. Cayce, sorry. He says, what does it matter, degrees? He's like, I'm dead, right? It's like, no matter what degrees you have, you're always going to end up here. So, but it was fun. It was fun for me to earn the education and the things that I had. He says, but I'm a doctor here in heaven. Actually, that's what people call me here. Oh, that's cool. He's like, yeah, it's pretty neat. I'm proud of myself. He says, I earned it. I studied a lot. For like 1,000 years, he said he studied in heaven for a lot of different things. I mean, obviously not since you died this life, but he's like, yeah, from other lifetimes in between. He says, we're always studying in between lives. Yeah, I get that. Okay. He says, as a matter of fact, I've got a lecture to go to. I've got to run. Go talk to Sylvia. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, guys, I'll be right back with Sylvia Browne. Okay, guys, I am now connected to Sylvia Browne. She showed me herself right as she was right before she died, with her haircut and her grovelly voice. And then she showed me what she looks like when she's in heaven, and she's a knockout. She's laughing. She's like, thanks, dear. And then I'm like, but you don't look like you. And she had different colors. She had darker hair. It's curly. And she says, okay, I'll go back to I'll hold the form. She's like, so what? It was just a costume anyway. It's all we wear. Our souls wear these costumes, and we think that's who we are until we die and we realize we could be anyone we want. And we can change our costume in heaven anytime we want. That's true. It's pretty cool, yeah? Okay. So Sylvia Browne was a regular guest on the Montel Williams Show and Larry King Live. She was extremely famous, extremely popular, extremely loved, and extremely controversial. She was known as America's controversial psychic. She started a society called the Society of Novus Spiritus. She had a metaphysical church, I believe in the Bay Area, correct? She said, yes, that's correct. She was born October 19th, the day after my son, in 1936. Well, my son's not that old. And she passed away on November 20th, 2013. Okay, that just hit me, Sylvia. That was the day that my husband died, November 20th, 2010. You died on his death day 3 years later. She's like, well, I had no connection to that or to him, and had no way of knowing. Yeah, of course not. Oh, it just was a weird energy, though. Because that was like the day that, yeah, okay, wow. Ooh, that was just, even when I wrote it down, I didn't think about it. It was only when I said it out loud and I went, oh, yeah, okay. So, all right. Let's see, I'm looking at my list of things I wrote about you. Oh, you used to have a radio show for an hour on Hay House Radio over the internet. She's like, I did it that? I want to go see if I can find the archives later. I'm going to actually look for that. Because I bet that was an interesting, very interesting show. So she's like, yes, I was controversial. She knew I was going to ask her these questions. Okay, so you were a very controversial psychic medium. I was. She says I was. She says, I think honestly I made a lot of mistakes. I got arrogant and cocky sometimes. Kind of want to apologize for that now, a little bit. Sometimes I would hear multiple souls of children crying out, and I thought I was tuning into the right one, and sometimes I was, sometimes I wasn't. And I got caught with my pants down a few times. But what do you want from me? What can I say? I'm only human. I did other things in my life I'm not proud of, and they became a matter of public record and public knowledge. It was, the brunt of that to bear it was a cross. It was a pretty big cross, actually. But life goes on, and so did I, and I accepted my faults as a human. We are fallible. We're never infallible. And as humans, we all make mistakes. Some of us get the great fortune of having our mistakes shown on the world stage. Can you imagine the pressure that was? And then when I outright made dumb mistakes, I had a husband that talked me into something that, well, I'm not proud of. Definitely not proud of him for talking me into it, but I went along with it. I'm an adult. I did my community service. All right, fair enough. I'm not going to judge you. She's like, it's not your right to judge me anyway, obviously, but that's okay, and thank you, dear, for saying that. Trust me, I judged myself harsher than you could ever imagine at the time. And again, at the hour of my death, for sure. Really, there's a lot I had to atone for when I got here. But when you think about it, it's okay. Making amends, making atonement with yourself and with your soul, it takes a lot of forgiveness. And you are all going through something like that right now with the Ascension. I see it clear. From where I am now, I see everything clear. And it's with my complete sense of clarity, at least from my perspective. I hope I'm clear. I hope I'm still clear. You guys are making the at-one-ment now. Your enlightenment is coming at the hands of your atoning for all of your past thoughts, your past sins, your past deeds, your past misdeeds, as well as the Akashic records in your very bones, in your DNA and in your blood. It isn't easy. It ain't always pretty, but it's definitely necessary. That's true. She says, shall we move on to the topic at hand now? Yeah, I don't want to put you in the hot seat this whole time. She's like, well, it's the only hot seat I want to be in, let me tell you. I didn't want to go to hell for what I did, and I didn't think I deserved it, so I did not go to hell. But there was still an atonement. Mark my words, no one gets out of that atonement process. I got to air out my dirty laundry on the world stage, and boy, was that a fun one, but it's okay. Because I went through my process. And that's one of the things that made my life unique and wonderful in a way. So don't feel bad for any deeds you've ever done. Because if you've learned from it, that's all that matters. If you learn from it and become a better person as a direct result of having learned from it. But that's all I got to say about that. Elena, let's get down to the channeling business, she says. Okay, so Sylvia, if my people, my listeners, subscribers, followers, whatever, I have this radio show, this podcast, they want to learn how to channel so that they can have the good, positive information for themselves. It's always hard to tell if you're using discernment to listen to other people, like they're listening to me channel you right now, but they don't know if it's from my subconscious mind or if it's from me directly or if it's really truly from you. They have to use their own personal discernment. So I think a lot of people want to be more in their own personal power. They want to be sovereign in their own personal kingdoms. And as a result, they want to channel their own information for themselves so they can learn to trust themselves on a spiritual level. So I'd like to know what advice or information you can give. How can people start this, or anything you want to add to what Ruth or Edgar said, or anything that you have for your own, unique perspective on this, because everyone just has a different, unique perspective. So what can you tell me? Never start by channeling your relatives. So you said, okay. Because they're just people like you are. You want to have someone with a higher knowledge and a higher vista than you, a higher view. Someone who has a higher working grasp of basically the inner workings of the higher and highest dimensions, and someone who's always 100% going to have your highest intentions in mind. Your highest good should be in the forefront of their mind. All right, anything else? She says, yes, let me think about how I'm going to word this. All right. So, your great uncle Billy might be an amazing and marvelous man, but maybe on Earth he spent his whole life, listening to the football game or baseball on the radio, or maybe on the weekends he was cussing and swearing and working on his cars. That doesn't make him an automatically spiritual authority because he's given up the ghost. A lot of people make the mistake. They make their normal folk into saints just because they're dead. And every darned fool can die. It's no thing to die. It's easy. It's unfortunately extraordinarily easy to quote unquote die. Just because a relative dies doesn't make them a know-all, be-all, see-all, end-all. and she says, I'm a little bit, she says, stepping on Ruth Montgomery's toes, because this is kind of what she was saying too. But I wanted to reiterate that because it is so important that if you're going to be a channel of the light, make sure you're channeling the most enlightened beings. Jesus is one. Mother Mary is one. The highest. The people who held humanity in the highest esteem, with the highest respect. They gave up their lives, their personal lives, and their privacy. The ones who put themselves out there to help all of humanity. And she says, and I'm not even saying myself. I mean, God knows I did my best. I was infallible, but I was an empath and I was an intuitive, and I just attracted the jerks and the narcissists. Oh my God, it's almost in every book I mentioned it. I mean, I was so hurt, and they just were able to manipulate and abuse me, and I fell for it every time. I got to be honest, because I always wanted to see the good in people, and even in my own mother, who was very dark entity, and she kind of put me on that path. But I'm not going to blame my mom. I went through my own atonement with myself again with that. I don't mean to get off the topic here, but it's just a part of it. It's a part of a journey. And when you want to channel an enlightened being, don't go seeking me out necessarily. Okay? Now, Elena is here to channel me so I could teach you how. I could give you a little bit of the knowledge I gained from my experiences on the planet. But if you're going to channel for yourself, my greatest advice is do it like I did. Channel your spiritual guide. This is your most trusted friend on the other side. Mine was Francine. My God, she got me through so many ruts, dark energies, bad times, scrapes, accidents. She must have felt like she was going to die 100 times from the accidents that she prevented. But your best friend and best resource on the other side, bar none, is going to be your spiritual guide. Your higher self is another one. You can always trust your higher self. It's you. You can try to channel your holy guardian angel. I found that to be quite hard, actually. At least my angel was very stoic, and he didn't talk much. Probably because he was constantly watching out in every direction. He had to protect me. Oh boy, did he have to protect me. But this is what I'm saying to you truly, dears. Channel your spirit guide, the highest vibratory masters that you know, and don't go off trying to channel the cosmic benevolent beings from, where are you saying from? Where are you saying? From Arcturus? From Arcturus or Avianus? Did you say Avianus? She's like Arcturus or Avianus or what have you. Just stick to the world God put you on, to the beings of light that you know are real and exist. I hear buzz in heaven from people who are now trying to channel people from all over, different planets, universes, dimensions, what have you. And can you really trust it? I don't know. Maybe. But do you really want to take the chance? If you're a new channel and you're new to this, all I can say is stick to the basics, stick to the masters, stick to your spiritual guide, and ask your higher self. Or God and Goddess too. I mean, Neil Donald Walsh, he did all right in his series of books, Conversations with God. His information seemed all right to me. I felt like I was literally talking to God in some of his books. I read those books. I loved those books. He seems to me to be a good man. But if he died, I wouldn't channel him. He's human after all. And even though Jesus and Mother Mary were human, they were at a different octave than the rest of humanity. I mean, we gotta face it. Let's face it. You're all in the process of ascension, but you're still just babies. I was still just a baby. In many ways. I just had some abilities, that's all. Just because someone dies doesn't make them a saint. You are all in the process of becoming your most beautiful self. You're still in the pupa stage. You're in the chrysalis. Someday you're going to be a grand butterfly, but people, you're not there yet. So be careful, use discernment. Go slow. I liked what Edgar Cayce said about the color blue. That is excellent. If you put the color blue as a screen and you set this in your mind, and whatever comes on that screen you pay attention to, and anything else just let it fall to the wayside. I love that technique. I wish I had known that, honestly. That sounds like good advice to me. Ruth Montgomery gave good advice too with the ice. I love that. The chamomile tea and the spearmint tea from Edgar Cayce, all good stuff. all marvelous stuff. For me, I could tell you what I did. Sometimes I would put a blank screen in front of me and the pictures would come to me in flashes. Sometimes it was a movie. Sometimes it was like a little mini movie clip. Sometimes I wasn't able to interpret correctly what I saw. I always went with it, though. Boy, did I always go for the gusto. I came up with some doozies. Some of my stories I saw, the scenarios that I saw, were potentialities and they weren't real. And sometimes I did not use discernment. So I'm telling you, don't try to be in the public eye. Don't try to do it for cash and glory. I admit I did that a little. I did my best to serve humanity in the highest good possible, in the highest way. But you know how it came out in some instances. And in other instances, I was very helpful. I think I saw one report that in 14 cases, I actually helped. I had real information. But it's a different ballgame channeling direct information from the light and trying to predict the future and also trying to figure out what happened to somebody, a human, when there's so many different timelines to choose from. And which one do you discern? Which one do you... And if you're not even aware of the timelines, then what good would it be? What good would it do you? If you can't see it 100% clearly, best step away and let another expert take over that. If you're a brand new channeler and you're brand new to this information, surround yourself by white light. Always please people. Protect yourself. Burn incense. Spray rose water into the air. Some specialty stores will have health water, like kind of a healthy sage water, or I'm seeing like a lavender water. You can even make a lavender or a chamomile water just to play upon, take what, Mr. Cayce said, and then I'm adding to it a little bit here, and we're stretching it a little bit further into a similar idea. You could put it in a spray bottle, mix it with, essential oil of sage, maybe make a maceration and filter it well, or just make it with the essential oil, the little bit of vodka in the bottom, and then add the rest with water. Make yourself a mist. Mists are lovely, especially in the summer when it's hot. Oh my God, I don't know what I would have done without that sometimes. Having a little mist to mist my face, and then it just had that high vibration. And I could do this also with holy water. I could see if you guys did this with holy water. Learn how to make holy water. Everyone's going to do it in their own unique way, and that's okay. As long as you surround yourself by white light first. Ask your spirit guides and your holy guardian angel, and they will come to you. Teach you how to make the holy water. The hint is you do it with salt. You could use rose essential oil, but some people don't really vibe well with rose. I mean, you can use other things that are high vibration. I don't recommend mint. That can burn the eyes. But if you just do maybe 4 or 5 drops in a really big bottle, a little bit of vodka to kind of mix it in, and then add the water. And then what you do is you just mist. Sage is good. Spearmint can be lovely. Lemon mint. I'm seeing lemon mint, or chamomile is always a very lovely and very sweet and gentle energy. You could just use that. You could even put a crystal in it. Like she's showing me, guys. She's showing me like a quartz crystal or an amethyst, or even better yet, If you need your heart healed, I highly recommend rose quartz. You can't go wrong with rose quartz. It's the color of the mother god Asna. You're going to love this. If you put that crystal in with your mist spray, keep it on your altar if you have an altar. Keep it in a place where it is unlikely to be infected by negative energy. Do not keep it in the sun. Keep it in a cool, dry place. I don't really recommend your refrigerator because God knows what energies are lurking in there, but maybe in your closet, if you have a closet or a drawer that you keep only your sacred and special stuff. That might help. It could be of service to you better if you keep a section in your house full with the emanations and the vibrations of your channeling and also your meditation and automatic writing. Anything that you do of a spiritual nature, if you keep it confined to a little part of your house, like a central location, that will serve you better. That vibration will vibe out and radiate out throughout the rest of your house, and indeed will end up protecting you, to be honest, to be perfectly frank with you. But we have to always surround ourselves with the angels. And remember, please remember, people, when you walk, imagine you're putting pillars of light underneath each foot. Ask God to bless everywhere you walk on your planet, in your world, because it's how everyone's going to grow into a state of enlightenment faster, more rapid. And as you go through the ascension, you're getting the energy. My God, you're being bombarded. I could see it from here. The light that's coming your way. It's incredible. And I am so happy. I am so happy that I can witness this. We in heaven love you. We're praying for you. I feel that it's time for me to go right now, but if Alanna will have me, I'll come back. Yeah, absolutely. You can come back anytime, Sylvia. I have to go with my God, what God says, but yeah, exactly. All right. So she recognizes that. We've gone a little over time. She says, but I've always been kind of, or are you saying loudmouth or big mouth? What are you saying? We'll just say I'm long-winded. She's saying, I think she said I've always been a loudmouth or a big mouth, or, well, you know what I mean. Something to do with the mouth. And then she said, well, I'm just long-winded. It seems like it's more to do with the lungs. She's like, oh, I don't even have lungs anymore. Thank God, sweetie. Smoking hurt. She was addicted. Yeah. I know. That voice. And my voice is getting growly because I'm like kind of channeling your energy. Oh, well, we love you, Sylvia Browne. I love you very much. You put out a lot of good information on the afterlife. And even if you weren't a perfect or clear channel 100% of the time, she said, I did my best, honestly. I just did my best. It's all anybody can ever expect of you. It's all you should ever expect from yourself. Do 100% your best. And if you're not your best, that's okay. Maybe tomorrow you'll be at your best. The point is to never give up and always keep trying. That's right, Sylvia. That's right. That is exactly how I talk about like this. I talk like this too. She's like, that's okay. You can go coach your people on another day, and I've got to go. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you. All right. She says she's going to go catch that lecture with Edgar Cayce. All right. Well, there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed these 3 channels. I'm going to go back and re-add the music. I'm going to, one more time, connect with each so that they can pick their own music that will add to their vibrations and emanations from these channelings. I hope this helps. I hope that this episode actually helped you guys. I love you all. You are my soul tribe. #soul tribe. #soul family. find my stuff on hashtag Ascension and hashtag Metaphysical. Those are the ones I put on Twitter. If you want to find me on Twitter, I'm also at mermaidgirl888. You can follow me if you want. Yeah, okay. I love you all. This is getting to be too long though, so I gotta go. But I'm signing off with peace and love and channeling the joy and the high vibes of the holy fifth dimension. Until next time. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.